It's a pleasure having Honorable Taiwo Ibironke, the AAC Federal House of Representatives, Surulere Constituent O2 candidate. It's a pleasure having you on Sahara TV, Mr. Ibironke.
Thank you.
One question we've always asked our guest has been, are Nigerians better off than they are 4 years ago? What's your view about this?
I think over years, Nigeria has naturally never developed. It has been a system that has ruled the whole nation that does not affect growth. Governments that have ruled have always come with their own agenda, which most times are selfish ambitions. And so that has actually stopped dividends of democracy, corruption. So for me today, I think Nigeria could be better. Only if we have leaders that actually think of the country first before themselves.
Now, one big question is, what do your party, the African Action Congress, see as a major issue eroding the common good for Nigerians?
AAC has been a party that seems to know more about the history of Nigeria. That is only party I believe can bring the revolution. Not war, not fighting, revolution that those that have been ruling us should be stopped. So AAC for me has the ideology of the party and the ideology of the leader, Surulere, really geared in line with what I felt from my own constituency, because that's where I grew up. And I realized the same national effect that is affecting Nigeria is also affecting my own local constituency. So that's the reason for me I'm coming out.
Now, let's go to your constituency. What is your party's vision? What vision do you have for Surulere constituency O2? And how do you intend to mobilize people, voters, electorates, in order to align with that vision that you have for the...
First, thank God I have AAC as a platform, because it goes in the same ideology with what the way I'm thinking. Secondly, I know my constituency very well. I grew up there. I finished primary 6 there. I still live there. So, because I know the level of growth that they've experienced, which none, the same way a street looks 40 years ago, is still the same today. And I also know that it could have been better. It's not because of the leadership. The constituency has been run by cabal. That they don't bring the fund to deploy for dividends. It's shared between themselves. And it's now become a culture, especially constituency 2, Surulere. 1 has experienced nice growth, but 2 has been neglected. So I know, but because I'm on a platform that we don't have Godfather, nobody's going to ask me that the fund that is needed for the constituency that should come and give it to them first. So we're going to deploy. And the youths in the constituency, they are wising up now. Thank God also to AAC and the Take It Back movement. You guys have really affected loads, even in my constituency. So coming on that, so with the position I know that I can deploy the fund, I think, and with others who also want this change, and for the fact that I'm also a son of the soil, I think we can kick something now.
Great. What specifically would your party, would you personally, as if you eventually are elected as a Federal House of Representatives member, what will you do to improve the infrastructure of your constituency? We're talking about roads, we're talking about the sewage systems and electricity in your constituency.
We identified our problems. We have so much problems. Because don't forget that, as I said, this constituency, at least in my own existence, has never grown. So we identify, we can't solve all, but we're going to be focused. We have 3-point agenda: road infrastructure, youth empowerment, and education. Road infrastructure, because loads of the streets are untarred, and it's been there for years. In fact, I said to my team, when we walk into a particular street, I said, this street still look the same 40 years back or more. So we're going to focus on road infrastructure. Youth empowerment, we're going to identify the serious ones. Because over years, some of them has been wrongly affected by political party that has put them into all the illegal ism and all kind. So, but we want to find those that are prospered and we empower them. You know, we empower them mentally, emotionally, physically. But those who are in a particular field of discipline, we would see if we can help them through giving trainings and also seed funds. As long as they can promise us that at the time they pay back with no interest, that they would have employed at least one person. We try to do inclusive economy. Productions of, let's say we have a carpenter. Why? Because in my hood, in my constituency, there's no showroom, furniture showroom, none. And there are a lot of guys who are good at carpentry. So we want to, okay, carpenter can produce for a guy in the showroom. So we identify, we see them all. Education is not that we're going to change the curriculum, we can't, only the state level can do that. But we realize that a lot of needs that most of these schools need that makes them a little happier, they don't have to be something big. For example, I went to a inter-house sport and I was asking the principals that what is your problem? It's called Sonia. What is the problem in this secondary school? They just pointed to the big field in front of them. I said, why? They said it's always flooded. I said, is that your big problem? I said, what if this was sorted out? Would you guys be happy? They said, yes. So the need will, according to what we can afford. Don't forget, we just Federal House of Rep. We're not the states informed in what, but we'll fight for them. So we try to do, and we also sit with youth and see what we can do to try to move the constituency forward.
Finally, if there is one piece of advice you want to give the youths today as the elections are near, what would that advice be?
You know, Nigeria is so blessed. A country that has 65% to 70 youth population. That country has a big, huge potential. At the same time, the country can deteriorate. But Nigerian youth are smart. They're very smart. They're nice guys. They're focused. So I want them to see that, because one of the reasons that they've not been able to develop and grow, because the environment is not be conducive for them. But I believe strongly that new environment is coming. I believe with the candidacy of Mr. Surulere. If they vote in Mr. Surulere, Nigeria will be great. And the youth should start being hopeful. They've taken their hope. They should start being feel hopeful. You know, that's one of the things we want to do in our constituency. We want to initially develop an environment of hope. You know, and a country that's got so much population, it's got huge potentials. You guys can be, they can be entrepreneurial. They just have to think. Don't let them be demoralized with the hope that's been taken out of them. So that they can be entrepreneurs, they can be inventors, they can be businessmen, because there are opportunities there in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Taiwo.
You're welcome.
We wish you the best.
Thank you very much.